Ma'am, I can make your daughter walk again. Those words, spoken by a tired single dad in a worn-out leather jacket, made the entire courtroom fall silent. Even the judge froze mid-turn, her gavel trembling slightly in her hand. The cameras, the murmurs, the whispers, everything stopped at once. If you're watching this, don't scroll away, because what happened next will stay with you long after the video ends. And if you believe in miracles born from pain and courage, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because this story isn't fiction. It's faith meeting fate. It all began months earlier in a small town hospital, where Jack Reynolds, a single dad and Army veteran, worked night shifts as a maintenance worker. He wasn't supposed to be there that night, he'd traded shifts just so he could attend his daughter Lily's school play the next day. Life hadn't been kind to Jack. After losing his wife in a car crash and sustaining a leg injury from his last deployment, every day felt like a battle between hope and exhaustion. That same night, Emily Carter, a 10-year-old girl, was rushed into the hospital after a terrible accident. Her mother, Judge Margaret Carter, known across the state for her strict, no-nonsense courtroom, arrived frantic and broken, her authority gone, her heart in pieces. Emily's spine injury had paralyzed her from the waist down. The doctors tried everything. After weeks of therapy and tests, they told the judge the painful truth: her daughter might never walk again. Jack watched all this from the corner of the hallway. He didn't know the Carters personally, but he could feel their pain. He knew what it was like to hear, "Nothing more can be done." Those words had once been said about his own leg. But Jack never accepted defeat. Not as a soldier, not as a father. He began visiting the hospital's therapy room late at night, quietly fixing broken equipment that the staff had given up on, an old exoskeleton frame designed to help patients move again. The hospital had abandoned it due to technical failure and funding issues, but Jack saw potential. He had once worked with similar rehabilitation devices during his military recovery. Using scraps, spare wires, and sleepless nights, he began restoring it, alone, silently, fueled by memories of his wife telling him, "You were made to heal others, Jack, not just survive." One night, as he worked, Judge Carter walked in. She'd come to retrieve her daughter's belongings but stopped when she saw him testing the half-repaired frame. "You're wasting your time," she said coldly. The best doctors couldn't help her. Jack looked up, his eyes calm but determined. "Ma'am," he said, "I'm not the best doctor. I'm just a dad who refuses to quit." That line stayed with her. Days later, when Emily lost all motivation to continue therapy, Margaret, against every ounce of her pride, asked Jack for help. Jack began working with Emily every evening after his shift. Slowly, he earned her trust. He taught her how to believe again, telling her stories from the army, about fallen soldiers who refused to give up, about his own battles to walk again after being told he never would. He turned pain into purpose. He turned therapy into play, progress into promise. Weeks passed. Every small movement felt like a miracle. Emily's toes twitched one evening. Then, her knees bent. The doctors were astonished, but Jack just smiled quietly. "She's fighting now," he whispered. Judge Carter watched from the doorway each day, her heart softening. She saw a man who had lost everything, yet gave her daughter what the world's best couldn't: hope. But fate had one more twist. One morning, hospital administrators entered the therapy room and shut it down. The device Jack used wasn't approved for hospital use. They accused him of breaking protocol. A formal complaint reached the court, filed, ironically, by Judge Carter herself weeks earlier, when she hadn't yet trusted him. Now, those same documents were being reviewed, by her. And that's where we return to the courtroom scene. The judge entered, ready to face the man she'd unknowingly betrayed. Jack stood before her, calm and humble. Cameras rolled. The public had caught wind of the story. Some called him a hero, others a fraud. Jack looked at her, not with anger but with quiet conviction. "Ma'am," he said softly, "I can make your daughter walk again. But I can't do it if you let the system stop me." Silence. The judge's lips trembled. She looked at her daughter sitting in a wheelchair at the back of the courtroom, her eyes shining, her hands gripping the armrests. Then, before anyone could react, Emily slowly pushed herself up. One step. Then another. The room gasped. The girl was walking. Tears flooded the judge's eyes as she covered her mouth in disbelief. Cameras clicked, reporters whispered, and the sound of soft footsteps echoed across the marble floor. Emily reached Jack and hugged him. You promised me I'd walk again, she said, smiling through tears. Jack knelt beside her, his voice breaking. No, sweetheart, you did it. I just reminded you how strong you already were. That moment went viral worldwide. Jack refused all fame, all money, all interviews. He went back to fixing things quietly, as he always had. But Judge Carter never forgot. Months later, she signed a grant under his name, funding veteran-led rehabilitation centers for children with disabilities. At the inauguration, she stood beside him and said, "The law can give justice, but only humanity can give healing." Jack just smiled, looking up at the sky where his late wife used to whisper courage into his soul. So, if you're watching this now, remember, miracles don't always come with wings or magic. Sometimes, they come with scars, grease-stained hands, and a heart that refuses to give up.